Hey Bayek, it's me, and in today's video, well, I'm continuing my look at classic Doctor Who, the third and the fourth Doctor stories, and this is The Hand of Fear from 1976. It's the 14th season and the second story, and before that, we had The Mask of Mandragora, which was the one story for 1976. And after this, we've got The Deadly Assassin, which I have reviewed as well. Both of these I've reviewed in previous videos. Now, this is, of course, a fourth Doctor story. And it is, well, it's the final story with Sarah Jane in. Oh, yes. This is our farewell story. Okay. So, it was transmitted between the 2nd to 23rd of October 1976. It was written by that wonderful duo of writers, Bob Baker and David Martin, who between 1971 and 1979 wrote 38 episodes. They started with The Claws of Axis, 1971, The Mutants, 1972, Three Doctors, 72 to 73, very important story. Sontaran Experiment, 1975, The Invisible Enemy, 1977, The Underworld, 1978, Armageddon Factor, 1979, and the final one was Nightmare of Eden from 1979. I mean, what a great selection of stories they wrote. And this is a really good farewell. I think some people have criticised this script a bit and the story, but I think it stands up well. It's an intriguing story, and I think being Sarah Jane's last story, it makes it more important because you know it's her last story. So, of course, it went really in the Who universe. She carried on to have her own series, but yes, we didn't know that then. Right. The script editor, of course, as usual, is Robert Holmes, and the producer is Philip Hinchcliffe. And it's directed by another Doctor Who director who we've seen before, Lenny Mayne. Curse of Peladon, 1972. The Three Doctors, yes, the wonderful Three Doctors, he directed that, 72, 73. And, of course, The Monster of Peladon, 1974. And then, of course, this, sadly, was his final one. I think he would have gone on to direct more. But 20th May 1977, he had a tragic accident sailing. And he was sailing, and it's very sad, isn't it? That his career was cut short, tragically. But there we are. Now, this story obviously stars Tom Baker, the fourth Doctor. Everything's just so easy for him, it seems. And of course, we've got Elizabeth Sladen playing Sarah Jane for the very last time in this part of Doctor Who. Yes, of course. And of course, I forgot to. She, of course, appeared in the 1983 Five Doctors. So yes, she does come back to Doctor Who. So the cast is headed by Judith Paris, who does a great job playing Eldrad, who's like the female version of this character. And most notable film that I saw that she was in was The Devils from 1971, a controversial film. Ken Russell, and massively controversial, still is to this day. But she then got just a lot of TV work and theatre. Fantastic. She brings a great deal to this part, actually. Then we've got Stephen Thorne playing the male version, the Castrian male version form. He was in The Demons, 1971. He was in The Three Doctors, 72, 73. And Frontier in Space, 1973. So he's had Doctor Who experience. His voice is very, very well known when you hear it. I think from The Three Doctors, because he played Omega, you can hear that Omega in his voice, definitely. But it's a great role, hamming it up in many ways, as you do as the villain. Because by then he's time to go a bit, do lally as they do, taking over the universe. Then we've got a very interesting actor who has a face that I recognise quite a bit, which is Glyn Houston, who plays Professor Watson. Now, he did have some interesting films in his early part of his career. He was in Payroll 1961, which I've reviewed and talked about before, which is a British crime thriller. He was in The Secret of Blood Island 1965, which is a Hammer film sequel as well. Excellent film. And he was in The Sea Wolves, yes, 1980, the Roger Moore film. But then his face, you just look at it, it's just in so many TV appearances, just a massive amount of TV appearances. And he's good in the role here he's got, he adds quite a lot to this. It's very good. Then we've got Roy Skelton playing King Rockon. Rock on, Tommy. No, sorry, it's a different one. But yeah, it's a joke there. But anyhow, King Rockon. Now he's like the voice of Doctor Who. 50 episodes between 1965 and 1988. He's appeared in some small acting roles, but also as the voices. He's so good with the voices. Fantastic. And again, he adds quite a lot to this. It's not a major part, but he's there in this, and it's excellent. Yes. Now, I think it's interesting. It was filmed also at the quarry, and they did an explosion, which is fantastic. It really adds to it. That was the special effects, the explosion. Man, that was great. And now this is unbelievable. They actually got permission to film in a nuclear power station. Yes, I know. How did they do that? But Aldenbury Nuclear Power Station in Gloucestershire was where we see all these wonderful scenes. And it adds so much. I mean, people spend thousands and millions on the massive sets and that. And here we are. They've got it. They had it all. And then mixed with all the studio things. It is fantastic. Absolutely wonderful. Also, the closing scene, which we see, was recorded at Thornbury, and that is quite an emotional scene in many ways, as you know. Let me just talk about what the story is about. I mean, it really centers around this nuclear power station that we see, and on the planet Castridian, yes, he says. And this figure, Castridon Eldron, who keeps telling everybody who he is, or she is, of course, because it's a she at the beginning, and then when we get to the planet, it turns into a bloke. Yes, there we are. And we find out that his body is kind of, or she's body is growing, and but they need to get to the planet, and the Doctor takes them there. But of course, he's one of these power-seeking people who, of course, wants to rule the universe and, get his revenge on his own people and all that, usual stuff. But all this is started, of course, when Sarah Jane is, for a few episodes, taken over by this character. She is when the Doctor lands in this pit, of course. It's in the middle of a big going to be an explosion. There's the explosion, and of course she gets buried in all this rubble and comes across this hand. Yes, and she grabs hold of the hand, and that's where all this story really gets going then, when she's taken over, and she needs to go to a nuclear power plant to get fully activated, if you see what I mean. She rather thrives on radiation, and what a better place to go than a nuclear power plant. And that's how the story is, and there's the Doctor there as usual. Fantastic. The story, I think, has been criticised from some points of view, but I think it's fine, and I think Sarah Jane, as a character, it's a good farewell, and Elizabeth Sladen plays it at usual high standard. She's really good, and she's even good when she's possessed. She's just great, absolutely wonderful. And the story is a good story, I think, and it is now. It will get to the farewell. Apparently, when this wrote the script, it was kind of left open, this farewell, and in the end, Tom Baker and Elizabeth Sladen actually wrote that farewell bit of the story, and it's really quite emotional, because I think only they could perhaps feel that there's that. You could see that love and respect that both characters have for each other, and that's really good. That friendship, it's shown. We've seen it in different ways. I always think one of the most saddest farewell scenes is when the third Doctor, has to say goodbye to Jo, and there's kind of a loneliness there, which you see. But here, though he's saying farewell, and he's got to, because he's been called to Gallifrey, you can see that real, because the fourth Doctor is the fourth Doctor, but there's a wonderful bit line when he actually says that they will meet again, and that was very good, until we meet again, and they do meet again, as we know. And the wonderful scene at the end has that bit of humour as well, when she's saying farewell. I think it's all beautifully done. The tone just feels a bit different from when the third Doctor, and I kind of like that. That suits their characters, how they are, and the sort of humour of the fourth Doctor. It's really good. I think it's there, and he's not one who seems to show his emotions a great deal always, but he does in some ways. It's the way he does it, and that the alien side of him, and I think that's really good. It's just wonderful the way that is put into this story, and it's a great farewell. And sadly, she's gone, but we've got a new companion coming up. Yes, we have. Yeah, I absolutely love this, and I think it does make it special, because we know the significance of this story. and I'm really happy to have watched it again and got involved. And it's a great story. So before I go, I'll, as usual, show you. There it is. The Blu-ray. Man, you've seen all this as you're going along, but there's the documentary on here is absolutely fantastic. It really goes into everything. It really does. And there's nice disc there was on there. And then, to top it all, yes, we have got this. Now, this came out in 2020. The story, in fact, first came out on VHS in 1996, and then DVD in 2006. So, yeah. Wow. There we are. This is just great. And it's got added extras as well for this story, which have been done especially for this. Absolutely wonderful. Yeah. It's a great season, this. We're going to be getting more from this. So, that's it. I've finished. I've gone on too long. Going on too long. Well, hopefully not. Now, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Then we'll let you know when I produce more. About you can see what I do, and me just sat here going on. And if you like this video, please give it a like. It helps hopefully get it out to other people who might think, oh, I'll try that. I'll press the one. I don't know. And say it all costs note. It all costs note, and you can't say fairer than that. And say if you got any comments, please put your comments down. I really do love to read your comments. And that's it. Yes. So all I've got to say is, I'll see thee again.